From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Fresh out the bed. Count up the dead.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, midseason grades. Jordan Travis busting out of a shell, but not the pocket, seemingly enough for a lot of us. And Corey and I handing out winners in our season-long competition. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida. CPTallybar.com, the website, 2475 Appalachian Parkway. The physical address. Hope you folks enjoyed trivia night. Don't forget later tonight, bingo night, 7 o'clock. Test your bingo skills, win drinks, prizes, and what else, Corey Clark?
I think just prizes, but cash, $250 in cash, my man.
That's big, everybody. That's big.
Again, that's just winning one round.
Yeah.
You could potentially, although the odds are against you, you could win all 4 rounds and win $1,000.
Man, imagine that.
Wouldn't it be some? Well, I think people would think the fix is in at some point,
Yeah.
and start really booing and throwing stuff.
Good. I was about to say that. I think you probably want to be a popular person. I'm glad that people from CP would rise up and let their voices
Well, I
be
feel
heard.
like it would be like if you win the lottery, so if you win the Powerball, you're not maybe supposed to tell people right away. You're supposed to lay low, maybe put that ticket in a safe, get some financial advisors, and then come forward.
Yeah.
I think if you win the 4th straight round of bingo and call out bingo and it's the same person, even if you've won that 4th round, don't call it out. Hand it to somebody at another table and say, I'll split it with you or something. Like, don't just call it out because it's going to get ugly.
Oh, man. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., only $8.99 today. Cheesesteak sandwich, chicken or steak. Comes with a side dish of your choice, straight fries, curly fries, onion rings, potato salad, coleslaw, broccoli, side salad, tater tots, or freshly cooked potato chips. And Friday, 5 to 6 o'clock, Corey Clark, Jeff Cameron on the clock, shaking hands, kissing babies, happy hour over
doing contests and giveaways.
Yes. Tom Lang will be there. I think I'll probably be there. Other dignitaries from the Warchant banner, TBA.
Also, live music at around 8:30. Tom and the Cats. If you're a Tallahassee native, you've probably heard of them. They'll be on the stage around 8 or 8:30.
All right, there we go. Everything out of the way. Practice Wednesday. Same old. Florida State just doing the thing, Corey. Couple notes I think I have here in my observation that don't get to see the light of day because my opinion isn't worth keeping behind a paywall, y'all. But we'll talk about that on another show when I'm on a sofa talking to somebody else. Period 3, they did this, Corey, down by 2, no timeouts. Didn't see how much time was on the clock, which is an important part of this situation, but alas, I bring to you what I can. Back-to-back gains, 3 actually back-to-back gains. Ja'Kai, that guy Johnny twice, and then a catch by Rodney Hill was the last mustering of yardage. So they set up for a 54-yard field goal because they were down by 2, Corey, as you know, as I said, with no timeouts. 54-yard field goal, Ryan Fitzgerald, good.
Really?
Good. I mean, it would have been good from 56, brother.
Okay, I was going to say, that's about right at the edge of his range. So that's cool that he made it. Good for him.
Yeah, I'm being mildly sarcastic, but it would have been good from like 2 more yards. So, I mean, hey, man, it's in a game of inches, 2 more yards. That's ample. That's plenty. Really nice catch in period 9 during 11-on-11. A catch that was thrown behind him, I think, from Tate. But Kentron Portier was alive with the sound of music on Wednesday with that catch with a ball that was thrown behind him. And then later on, period 17, red zone, a corner fade. Tate puts it back there on the back pylon. And wasn't like you're necessarily like, it wasn't off the 3-yard line, back corner fade. It was, 10, 15 yards, so it was a little bit more on a rope. Kind of like the Johnny one against Louisville last year. We all remember that one. They came off the arm of Tate. But this time it was Kentron Portier making a nice catch in the back there. Nadeau had a pick in that period and looked quite solid per usual. And
Who was Nadeau?
Renardo Green.
Oh, You call him Nado?
They call him the team, the coach. They call him Nado. Yeah, I think his Twitter's even Nado.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, so not quite Stingray in terms of nicknames.
Yes, correct.
But alas, one. And then the final play before they take their snack break. It's just it's incredible how often they make something out of nothing and convert when they're just completely dead to rights. Whether it's Jordan just having like two people breathing down his neck and even his Houdini ways probably wouldn't extricate him from that position, or him just throwing into gobs of traffic. Last week it was Keon coming down with the catch amidst a complete, army of people in the end zone. Yesterday it was Kyle Morlock with the catch. So
okay, good.
Offense winning the day once again. Good spirit, good energy from practice. Did ask Norvell afterwards about anything changing with Darryl Jackson. You can go listen to his interview. Probably speaks more than me relaying it, but not happy, I guess is probably the best way we could say it. Not happy and confused by the fact that their guy is still not eligible. Meanwhile, the guy in Chapel Hill is. So
yeah,
this scenario, the saga continues. Corey, shall we proceed with the Renegade Express questions mailbag? Warchant.com.
Yeah, I would also encourage people to go watch Jordan's interview. We got, well, I didn't. The Royal got Jordan Travis after practice on Wednesday, and I thought he was pretty open about his emotions and why he's been so visibly frustrated, and just the machinations of all that, what it means, how much better he thinks the offense can be. I thought for Jordan, now Jordan is a very nice kid, but he, and I think he's got a lot of personality. He just doesn't like to show it to us. But I think it was a pretty insightful interview for him. So go and watch that when you can too.
Yeah, unapologetic. Be unapologetic.
Which he shouldn't be apologizing, really.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Just like, yeah, man, like I have emotions. Everybody, sorry. But he didn't say sorry because he was unapologetic about it. Everybody, but yeah, it's good to hear him. And I asked him like the follow up about whether or not it's because he realizes how good he is, how good this team can be, that he is taking things so much more to heart, and he kind of doubled down on saying that that is mainly the reason why. But yeah, it's all coming from a good place, and I think everybody realizes that, so that's why it won't be a distraction. Despite looking weird to us at times, and now we know why, and he's explained himself, and on we move. We move on. First question, Noel Boyo 2, wake up! What past game's atmosphere would y'all compare the Duke game to? I wish we would have gotten game day this week. It's going to be so awesome Saturday night. Just can't wait for it to get here. Tough,
I really
man.
think
It's a tough one to
Duke
compare.
had beaten Notre Dame, you might have gotten it.
Yeah. Well, Ohio State, I just feel like those brands.
Yeah, but it's also isn't that the Fox game?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I figured ESPN, and they're there. Fox is obviously there already, so I thought maybe ESPN would want to pivot and do something different. Yeah. If Duke was number 9 or 8 and Florida State was number 4, there's a good chance they would have, at least better than 10% chance they would have been in Tallahassee. I was thinking about this. I think it'll be, weirdly,
21 Notre Dame?
No. I'm going way back. Well, not way back. But it's not a great memory. Some people have probably already forgotten this game even existed. But 2008 Wake Forest. Now, the 2008 Florida State team was not as good as this one. But the similarities are you came off the 07 season. I can't remember how that – you came off the 07 season. Ponder's your quarterback. You win your first 2 games by 1 million. But they're against awful teams, but you're 2-0. You're welcoming in Wake Forest, who would embarrass you the last couple of years. They're coming to your house. You're ready for them. It's a primetime game. They've got their I can't remember. Was it Riley Skinner?
Probably,
who was their quarterback forever?
Yeah.
They've got a couple of really good defensive players. The Curry kid that was like a top 10 pick. The cornerback that was really good. So it's a very good Wake team. And I just remember writing, I don't know that Wake has ever been in an environment like this where they're going into like a frothing stadium, ready for Wake Forest. Because 2 years ago, you had beaten them 30-0 in that same stadium. Then last year, the year before, you'd beat them on a Thursday night. And so they were just like the fan base was salivating, ready to win that game and finally beat Wake. And Wake is not used to walking into a stadium like that. And I thought that was going to be an advantage. And it was, but your offense turned it over, I think, 7 times. I think Devontre Richardson and Ponder both threw 3 interceptions. You might have fumbled 2. It was just a gross game. You lost 13-3, I think. Like the
12,
Wake offense,
12
was it
to
12-3?
Yeah.
The Wake offense didn't do anything, but your offense did much, much worse and turned it over a ton. So I just remember that because it's not a team that you normally get riled up for. And it was a really good crowd. I think this will be better than that. I just think, and I think both teams are better. These 2 teams this year are better than those 2 teams were that year. It struck me the similarities of like a hungry crowd against a team that's not used to being the villain coming into a loud stadium, and it did not play out the way Florida State fans wanted it to, but you also turned it over 7 times, and I can promise you this. If you turn it over 7 times on Saturday, you're going to lose that one too.
220 yards of total offense for the Noles that day.
Yeah, that's rough. Was I right with the turnovers?
5 picks. Let me see. Fumbles lost. Florida State 2 fumbles. 2 fumbles lost. Yep, 7.
That's tough. That's tough.
I'm 86% sure I was there for this game. I don't remember it being prime time, but you're right. It started at 7 o'clock. But I remember because it was nothing but field goals, and Florida State was still in it. Even after they made another late field goal, they made it 9-3. Like, hey, we can still win the game. Like, not only tie, forget tying the game. Like, if we just get in the end zone, we can still beat them. And then when they made it 12-3, it was like, man, whatever, man. Just, touchdown and an onside kick.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't give up. That's crazy. That look at your memory, man. I was there for this game. I don't remember it being at 7 o'clock prime time.
But you also made a point to go to that game. Like, it was a big game in the context of that era of Florida State football trying to get out of the malaise. I think this team is out of the malaise, and this is a big game not because you're just trying to, beat a team that you want revenge against because Duke's never beaten you. It's because it's a huge game. It's a top 20 showdown. And I guess, did Elko say that the chances are pretty good that Riley Leonard plays?
No.
I thought I saw that on Twitter.
Well, Ira took umbrage with me. Our guy Steve Wiseman, he actually sent me an email first thing in the morning on Wednesday, like, hey, man, Coach Elko did talk about Riley at his radio show, and they sent me a link to his story. There was, in the story that you're referring to, they literally put in the headline, in quotes, good chance, but there was no quote from Mike Elko saying the words good chance back to back.
Well, then that's false. It's not advertising. Right. That's a horrible headline. Yeah. You don't put something in quotes unless it's been said.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He just said, we think there's a chance that he'll be ready. And it wasn't. He didn't qualify by saying good, bad, or indifferent. He said, we think we have a chance to have him ready for the game. Saying, the main thing for them is, which sounded weird, is we don't want to risk that ankle as if it's like a brain injury or something here. But he's like, if he cannot protect himself, we're not gonna play him. Which I think
what was wrong with Van Dyke last year when they played? Was it his shoulder?
I think it was. Yeah, it was something upper body. Yeah,
because I just remember him a couple of times, especially in the second half. Maybe they brought him in for a series, and he just crumpled as soon as he saw someone.
Yeah.
Just kind of got in the fetal position because he couldn't take a hit on the shoulder. And it's like, well, what are we doing here, man? This isn't fair to this kid. And I think that's what you mean by protecting. Yeah. If he can't avoid pressure and he's going to wear it from Verse or Lovett or Stingray, that's, he can't move from side to side in the pocket. That's going to be really tough for him.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, again, I'm convinced myself that they're going to probably save him because there's more on the line for them against Carolina, provided they can get by Louisville as well, which is next week for them. So, but we'll see, man. We'll see. It's going to be electric and dope.
It will be. So I guess the real answer is probably 21 Notre Dame. I don't even think is real because Florida State fans were excited about it, but you were just coming off the COVID season. I think most people walked into that stadium let's just not get embarrassed. Let's keep it close. Let's see what this looks like. Truly, Notre Dame was top 10. You were coming off 3-6. And then the way that fourth quarter went, when McKenzie coming in the game, it did get electric. But it looked like it was going to be a blowout there for the first 2.5 quarters. This is different. This is real expectations. and a real chance to go play for a championship. I just think it's going to be, because of the team not being good for the last 7 or 8 years, it's going to be something unlike we've seen probably since, really maybe Notre Dame in 14.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Ooh. Bourbon is your friend. It's Dave. It's Bardstown, Kentucky, y'all. Halloween's coming up. My question for each of you. Well, let's go to he's got 2 jokes and a non-related question, so just staying on brand. We love it. Was there a candy you liked as a kid or even to this day that everyone else thought was disgusting? Mine, Dave says, was circus peanuts. Will either of you? Will either
Are
of you?
Those the pink things or the orange things?
Yeah. Those.
Oh,
God.
God.
I don't think I've ever even. They're so unsightly. I don't think I've even adventured to try one of those things.
I think I ate them when I was like 6 or 7, and even then I was like, this can't be good for me. Yeah. This what is this? What am I eating? Like asbestos? Like what is this that they're putting in a bag and making me eat?
Will either of you be handing out candy? Aslan, you strike me as a box of raisins guy. No, man, I'm still traumatized from my 1 year of handing out candy in Tallahassee. I never handed out candy before, because I'd always be out myself, or I was, like a bachelor in Montana in an apartment complex. But yeah, man, you kids, like you folks got to get your kids just to, gentlemanly reach into the box or the bowl and just grab 1 or 2 items. Like, just, I don't know. I can't describe it. It was a very, very traumatizing night for me. But no, I will not be handing out candy. I like candy corn, still like candy corn. Not going to apologize. Not out there hunting, Corey, for candy corn. Not saying bring all your candy corn to me.
Right.
But if I see candy corn, I'm like, yeah, why not? Why not? I'll do some candy corn.
Yeah, no, I'm not a big sweets person anyway. So the only things I really eat or did eat, I don't really eat them anymore, was Reese's.
Of
and
course.
I think everybody's on board with Reese's.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I don't have any like crazy candy fetishes. And I don't give away candy either. I turn my lights off.
Oh,
no, I don't.
okay.
I'm a bachelor.
Yeah.
I'm a bachelor. I'm turning my lights off.
Well, for only 1 more year.
That's right. Then I'm going to be one of those weird Halloween people that dress up like a ghost or a witch or something and try to scare kids.
I know. I've got the Ring doorbell. Maybe I should just leave a table with just candy bars and be like, take one, I can see you. And then when it's over, it's over. And then I'll just keep it moving.
Okay.
But we'll see. Anywho, speaking of fetishes, did Jared Verse increase his production the last 2 games because he heard Corey say Josh Kando was a disappointment in the sack a couple of years ago, and he didn't want that said about him? Second joke from Dave, trying out his new cross-the-country routine here. Is number 6 set for a Behemoth game this week?
Instead of Behemoth. Okay. I like that one. That one's good. I don't remember the bat in the sack Josh Kando reference. I don't mind that one. The Behemoth?
Yeah, Behemoth.
Come on now. That's not a bad nickname.
It's not at all. Not at all.
I can't believe I didn't think of it. I actually feel I'm upset because I've been concentrating so much on the last name. How did I not come up with Behemoth? Oh, boy. Dave, you bested me.
Speaking of things that people don't forget, this guy followed me on Twitter to vent about this, and he's vented twice, and he brought it up again, and I was like, did Corey say it again? He says, no, I was just losing my mind screaming at my Spotify when I heard whatever episode it was months ago. And it was you referencing the alley-oop Heat photo with LeBron staring, or Dwayne Wade staring off into the distance while LeBron was throwing it down in the background. Yeah. Really nice photo. I guess it was not an alley-oop. And Heat Culture wants us to acknowledge that it was not a alley-oop. So. But it was a pass. So it must have been a behind-the-back no-look, like a no-look, just drop it off. LeBron, go get it. Oh. It must have been. Because it's from Dwayne Wade. There'd be no reason for him to be holding his hands up where he is under the basket unless he passed it to him. But either way, that's semantics. But I apologize. It must be awful being a Miami Heat fan. This Atlanta Hawks fan truly does apologize for the pain I've caused you from having to lament me not remembering 2 of the best players that ever lived on a connection in one of your championship years. I apologize. That's all. During a 27-game winning streak. Again, that's all on me. I don't know how I can ever repay
this mistake, but I apologize. The Hawks have never made the NBA Finals, and my football team had a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. I apologize that I'm confused a behind-the-back pass with an alley-oop.
Bradley Moss.
I hope you keep Tyler Hero for 12 years and you keep getting bounced in the second round forever.
Salty Corey Clark, so underrated. Such an underrated addition to the show. Bradley Moss.
I said all that with love.
Yeah.
It's a loyal subscriber. I was just kidding.
Yeah. Wake up, Bradley Moss says. What are your guys' midseason grades by position group? Oh, wow. Now that we're on to the back half of our schedule with some big games coming up, any concerns going forward with Norvell play calling and Jordan's decision-making, especially in crucial situations? Feels like we can't afford to make those mistakes against some of the better teams that we'll face, like Duke, Miami, Florida, and whoever in the ACC championship game. Your thoughts? Thanks, fellas, and as always, go Noles.
I would say defensive line A.
Mm-hmm.
Linebackers, I don't know, B.
Yeah.
B minus. Secondary, well, let's do cornerbacks. Cornerbacks A. Renardo's been exceptional. Azaria's been good. Fincherell's had some tough moments, but none of them, knock on wood, are just getting blown past for wide open touchdowns. The cornerbacks are playing solid. The safeties I would give, again, I don't know, a B minus. It's, but that's, I don't know what their ceiling is. Mm-hmm. I would say the defensive line and the corners have played up to their ceiling, in my opinion. Yeah.
Linebackers too, right, man? I mean,
I guess, yeah, but they're not. It's hard to give them an A.
Yeah.
But they've been, not bad.
They won
which
you
is
one
what
game.
you're hoping for.
Yeah, they won you one game.
They did. That's true. Quarterback. A, B plus.
Okay, all right, I like that.
My man has one turnover in 6 games. He's not making horrible decisions. He's one turnover in 6 games, and that was like the 11th pass of the year. Yeah. Like he I don't know how many passes he's thrown without one. I know I'm jinxing it right now, folks, but he has gone essentially 5.5 games without a turnover. That's very uncommon, and it should be appreciated. Receivers. It's really just 2 of them, but A. Yeah. Offensive line, B minus, C plus.
Running backs?
B.
I almost want to say C on the running backs, but we'll go with B. That's fine. I'm fine with the grading on that. Jordan has attempted... What a weird system they have here on ESPN.com. 182 throws. So he's gone like 170?
I would guess. Whenever LSU fumbled that punt and then he threw a pick on the very next play, that was in the second quarter, I think. Yeah. I would think he'd thrown maybe 11 or 12 passes up to that point. So, yeah, probably somewhere around there, 165, 170.
And he's still taking chances, though. And it's not he's just being complete game manager, taking the air out of the ball thing, but –
he's not Kirk Cousin at it, just 4 yards here. For 3rd and 8, he's going to throw it 2 yards. He's not doing that.
Yeah. Concerns going forward with Norvell's play calling or Jordan's decision making in crucial situations. I don't have really concerns with Jordan's decision making. I just hoping he can get through these next 8-9 weeks. Most likely, I mean, you're going to play 9 games back to back to back to back. If you make it to Charlotte, they can just stay healthy. That's my concern. I think he has a good feel for the offense and. I don't know if they're going to be in any games where he's going to feel really big pressure in the fourth quarter to maybe force something or get out of sorts. And Norvell's play calling, man, I don't know. I think any other fan base probably has the same gripes with whoever's their play caller, either going for on 4th down or getting too cute on here or there. It's nothing to me that's been egregious or makes you feel that he's holding you back. So
it's so weird to talk about play calling in this day and age because so many plays have multiple variations off the call. So you can look at I think it might have been the Trey Benson the long touchdown run he had against Va-Tech, the last one, where you can see the receivers out wide as Jordan Travis is handing the ball to Benson. I think it's this play. It's a play where they were running around right edge. where the two receivers are preparing for a screen pass out to the left. And then Jordan can either keep the ball. So it's a triple option. He either hands it to Benson, he runs it himself, or he throws it out wide to a wide receiver. Well, there's variations of that on every play. So sometimes that play is called, and say Travis throws, like, was that a great play call? Or was it a great decision by your quarterback to hand it off?
Right.
Like, you know what? Like, it's not just, okay, it's 3rd and 6, drop back. This is what your Z is doing. This is what your X is doing. Like, you've got variations and alternatives off every single play call, it seems. That said, what he did in the red zone Saturday wasn't great. Clean that up, Mike.
I don't know, man. I get it. I understand that's fair. Like, it's so anticipate him. And I know you're like, hey, man, like you're not coaching against the opponent. You're coaching with what you have and that sort of stuff. I just don't think if he finds himself in a similar situation, although it's hard to say a similar situation because that's the whole reason why he wouldn't do the same thing, because it would not be a lousy offense that has no shot to move the ball more than like 30 consecutive yards against your defense. So, yeah you can go for it.
And I also think it always needs to be pointed out, I always want to point this out, is that quarterbacks have to make so many more decisions now than they ever did. Like back when Casey Weldon was playing, or even when Jameis was playing, man, like it wasn't, this is a running play. You were going to hand the ball off to Devontae Freeman right here. Yeah. Now, if you see something crazy, you can do a hot route, you can switch it, but by and large, this is an off-tackle run by Devontae Freeman. Jordan Travis doesn't have that luxury, man. He is always reading the edge to see if he should keep the ball. He's always looking out wide to see if he's got numbers out wide to throw a screen, or where the numbers are to give the ball to the running back. Like, it's just every play. It's not just, okay, I'm passing on this down, it's 3rd and 8. Every 1st and 2nd down play it's seen, you know what I mean? Not everyone, but a lot of them, he doesn't get a play off to just be like, here, man, here's a toss sweep. Come back to me in 40 seconds, we'll have another play. Like, it's so much this isn't a Jordan specific thing. It's all these offenses. The quarterback has to make so many decisions. The point being, they're going to make some bad ones. You're not going to go perfect. You're not perfect. You're not going to make a perfect read every time. But he makes the right read way more often than he doesn't.
VitaminEnergy.com, making the day right more often than not. Always, some might say. I say that. VitaminEnergy.com, promo code WARCHANT, BOGO, B-O-G-O. Buy one, get one free. How about Vitamin Energy Mood Plus? Promotes positive mood. Some might say happiness. It's been clinically tested and proven to better your mood. Go figure. Who'd have thought? 260 milligrams of all-natural caffeine, lemon balm extract, passion flower extract, chamomile flower. I mean, just saying chamomile, does not just put you in a better state of mind? Just imagine actually consuming chamomile. Relaxes you. Makes you feel good and happy. Tropical berry flavor, delicious. 12 of them in a box. Buy one, get one free. You can get the variety pack. It'll have Mood Plus. It'll have Workout Plus. It'll have Focus Plus. All of them in one box. You can buy one and get one free when you use the promo code WARCHANT, BOGO, B-O-G-O. Shake it and take it. Energy with benefits. VitaminEnergy.com. Corey, I will bring Vitamin Energy. Work on your reaction time. I will be off camera when you're doing the Vitamin Energy WARCHANT rap with Ira. If you're not wearing Vitamin Energy branded apparel, and I'll be throwing shots at you throughout the program.
Nice. That's
for product
fun.
placement.
I wouldn't mind you throwing me one in the middle of it, and I can just take a shirt, and I'll just take my shirt off that I'm wearing and put that one on.
Oh, okay.
How about that? Something for everyone.
Like that. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it, y'all. All right, let's pick it up, man. We've barely gone. I mean, we only have. I shut it off early too, but we really. What did we stretch on? Really stretch on that crowd question. Wow, that was like 7 minutes. Jarenol 1518. Wake up! Happy Duke Hate Week. That sentence sounds weird to say, at least in football.
Right.
In the spirit of Duke Hate Week, here's the most disrespectful football Duke question I could come up with. What's higher? The number of first and second round picks Florida State will have in the 2024 NFL draft, or the number of completions Duke had against NC State last week, which, in case you don't remember, was 4.
I'm going to. Well, you could have come up with a much more disrespectful question than that because this Duke team is actually good. I thought you were going to go back over the years. The fact that I think they've 0-21 against Florida State all time. I don't know. So Keon and Verse are definites.
Yes.
Is Johnny? I think Johnny would be. But I'm a big Johnny Wilson fan. I think you look at that size and the way he separates, and the fact that he can make tough catches over the middle, that he would be something that coaches would want. He's not dynamic speed, but, man, he has a way of separating from these guys. I would say Johnny. Anybody else?
I don't know, man. I don't think Trey any longer is in that sort of cusp of being a second-round pick, even if he is, I don't know if he'll be the number one running back.
Jaheim? The Jaheimoth?
I mean, second
Jaheim
round.
could be close, man, I think. Just because he's so versatile and he can do a lot of things. He's physical. He's got athleticism and wheels. He's a tough kid. He just seems like a football player. He's the guy that you could see play in the league for a decade. But I don't know if he's a second-round guy. I think for sure you only have two.
I mean, last year, they went on a run. My gosh. 5 in the second round, and then a first rounder, the kid out of Utah that went to Buffalo, Dalton Kincaid. I mean, if that's the norm, man, if 6 guys get drafted in the first 2 rounds from tight end, then I would put Jaheim in there. And then how about push? I'll do a push.
Okay.
I'll go 4. I was going to go under, but good points made.
Also interesting what happens with Renardo. I think Renardo's a draft pick. I don't know how high he goes. I don't know what he's going to test at the combine. I know that he is, at least for the last year and a half, has been a pretty doggone elite college cornerback. But I don't know how that tracks to the next level. So I'll say Duke 4-3 on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder. Except Asante went second round, but he had so much more buzz. It felt like, at least at this part of that year of 2020, than Renardo has right now. But maybe he shuts down Miami's receivers. Maybe then that'll start really picking up his stock. But yeah, curious to see how it goes. Nonetheless, he's had a great season. Keep it up, Nato. Blue Nole, wake up, then go back to sleep so you can wake up again. Love the show. My questions, plural. Do you think if Keon Coleman has more big games like he did last Saturday, he can be in the Heisman conversation? No, I don't think so. I don't know why.
No, because he's not the best receiver in the country. You know what I mean? Like the kid at Ohio State.
He's not viewed as, yeah.
Well, and I don't think he is. He's really good. I just think the Harrison kid's like a next-level kid, even a tier above Keon Coleman. So, no, I just don't. I don't think so. And you don't win the Heisman by going off against Syracuse. Now, if he has another big game against Miami, if he goes and treats Florida like he treated LSU, and he ends up with, 16 or 17 touchdowns, I guess there's a shot. But I can't imagine him winning it. Maybe he could get himself an invite to New York. Or maybe a Florida State player could actually win the Blitnikoff for once. Hometown award.
Blue says, I don't know why he isn't already considered or in the conversation. He's shown up and showed out in the big games, LSU, Clemson, plus what he did against Syracuse, not only as a receiver but a punt returner. In other words, why not Keon Coleman for Heisman if he keeps up that pace? If he has 2 more games where he goes crazy returning punts, maybe that's the wild card. I think it's still going to be these dips in production the rest of the way, catching the football, just because of whatever the game dictates. But yeah, if he does some punt return, special team stuff, maybe that puts him back in that sort of thick of it. Second question in regards to Jordan Travis, do you think he's lost some balance to his game? Quotations around balance. In other words, he used to run a lot. Now he's swung the other way and seems to just sit in the pocket a little too long sometimes, waiting for somebody to come open. It's almost like he's being a little bit stubborn about it. The blindside hit versus Syracuse, perfect example. I would like to see him at least climb in the pocket when pressure comes. If not, take off altogether. Thanks, guys. Go Noles. I don't disagree with anything there.
No, I don't either. I just think, I just remember 2 years ago, the talk was, and it was good. I mean, it was fair talk. It was the right talk that he wasn't a real quarterback in the sense that if the first progression wasn't open or the second progression wasn't open, he was just supposed to take off. He was a running quarterback. He was a running back that could throw, essentially. And look at the North Carolina game. He made some great throws in that game. He threw it like 12 times in the 2021 game. The reason his legs we ran for like 150 yards. He had the 50-yard touchdown. That was who we thought Jordan Travis was a kid that could make play with his legs, but didn't see it well, didn't really have a great pocket presence, didn't use the middle of the field. And then all of a sudden he turned himself into a quote-unquote real quarterback where he does all those things. He does go through the progressions. He does throw it to the open guy. He does see the field. And now we want to see the marriage of the two, right?
Yes.
But if you're going to be one or the other, clearly the guy that was there in 2021, that was not a good offense. The guy that's here in 2023 is running a very good offense. So this is the ideal one you would settle for. But I get the frustration that why can't it be both? But think of all the times he has made, like, I think 2 years ago, and it's because the offensive line too, but 2 years ago, he never makes that throw to Keon down the sideline for the 50-yard touchdown. He would have taken off. Now he stood in there. He did what a quarterback's supposed to do. He wore a hit, and he lofted a perfect throw for a 53-yard touchdown instead of an 11-yard run. And then now you got to go get 3 more first downs and hope you can score in the red zone. So by and large, it's working. I am very interested in what it looks like this week against an elite defense and what it looks like against Miami and Florida. Because I do think it could do worlds of good for everyone, especially on third down, if he scrambled for a couple of first downs. Yep. You know what I mean? And if he could just show the world, look, remember this? I can run for 90 yards if I want to in a game. I've done it. He's run for over 100 yards like 4 or 5 times in games, so it would be nice to see that. But if you had to pick the two, I think you would want this one. And I feel like Jordan might throw up his hands and be like, what do y'all want me to do? I was getting grief for running too much. Now I'm getting grief for passing too much. Meanwhile, we're 6-0 and number 4 in the country with me passing too much. And our offense is averaging 42 points a game. That said, his legs will be a very big part of a game moving forward. And if you look at last year, Aslan, I know we got to get moving. It's not like his legs won them a lot of games last year. You could make an argument. Florida?
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. So he had a really long run against NC State, which they didn't win. And he had a touchdown run against Clemson, which they didn't win. But the games they won, it was his arm. And his legs won you the Florida game because he did a bunch of spinny doos and got out of sacks.
Bad Nole, I want to keep it here because this is going to be kind of my answer, but we just touch upon it, which is fine. Wake up, fellas, going back to the Halloween theme. I remember back in the day watching a segment on ESPN titled The Top 10 Scariest Things in the NFL. Number 1 was punting to Deion Sanders. Anyways, if you could name the scariest thing about this team, what would you say? Deep ball to Keon, running up the middle into the teeth of this defense? Thanks and go Noles. Yeah, I think for me it's that kid. It's 13 in the open field. It's him deciding, okay, I'm done with this. I'm running now. And that's the scariest thing.
Okay, I would say the first the Keon deep ball to Keon, deep ball to Johnny. Just having your corners having to match up with those guys, at least for those two cornerbacks, is not a fun thought. That's a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, you're right. I think that. I don't think you're right, but it's a good answer. Jordan in the open field is scary. I want to see that again. I want to see him make a run where he doesn't go down as soon as there's a guy near him, because he can make a guy miss. He can make 2 guys miss. I want to see that guy again at some point soon. You know, a play, I think I mentioned it a couple days ago. Again, Jordan Travis 2 years ago, the throw he made to Jaheim, where he scrambles to his right and then kind of throws back to his left real quick, and Jaheim's not even open. but he kind of throws it over Jaheim's right shoulder and spins him into the open field, and it's a 35-yard gain. There's no way Travis does that 2 years ago. There's just no way. He runs for 2 yards and gets out of bounds or slides or takes a needless hit. Instead, he did scramble outside of pressure. He's still doing that, not as much as he used to. And his legs got you 35 yards. It just wasn't his run. So he's just like those Southern Miss plays he had. By the way, holy moly, is that an awful football team. Yikes. Anyway.
Cajun Knoll, this isn't your daddy's Duke. They've got playmakers and a badass defense. They haven't gone against the Keon Coleman or Johnny Wilson duo yet, though. So do you think this game will come down to who has more passing yards in the end?
I mean, if Florida State doesn't have more passing yards, you're losing this game. Yeah, I don't think Duke necessarily needs to have more passing yards to win the game. I think Florida State does. Like if they get outgained in the air by Duke, especially a hobbled Riley Leonard or a kid making a second or third start, whatever it would be, that would be really bad news. That would be very surprising. I think Florida State's going to win the passing battle, but I don't think that's where this game comes down to. Quite honestly, it's probably the rushing yards, right?
Yeah.
Like if you can run on, you're going to throw the ball. You might make some mistakes. You might have a turnover or two. It's a really good defense, but you're gonna put up some yards through the air because you always do. If you can run on this defense and make them have to kind of crowd it in the middle, kind of bring those safeties up a little bit, you're going to have. It doesn't matter. You're going to put up points and yards. If you can establish some dominance on the line of scrimmage, which is a big if, because this Duke front can play, you're gonna win the game. And if Duke, conversely, if Duke can run against you, which I don't expect them to, but if they can, well, that's how they pull off the upset. Because if they become one-dimensional, like almost every other team has had to be against this team, that's bad news for Duke. But if they can establish some sort of run game, if they can kind of control the line of scrimmage, if the referees let them get away with some holds, they'll have a chance.
Bigger picture with this Duke game. Let's go to this one. Our guy down in Naples, Mark, M. Adams, CZ. Wake up! To echo the discussion from headlines, I think the crowd and environment on Saturday will be worth at least 7 points. Duke's got the one road game at UConn, which, dare I say, is not exactly a packed Doak Campbell on a Saturday night.
It's Doak North.
And, yes, Duke's defense is solid and well-coached, but I don't see how they can account for Johnny, Keon, and Jaheim, Trey, and our other playmakers for 4 quarters. And heavens to Betsy, if Jordan decides to pull it and run on occasion, Duke won't have enough answers. I think the key to winning the game is depth and stamina. Mike's efforts in building a roster that is better than Duke's when you get to the second and third deep, or the 2 and 3 deep, rather, and a roster that's built by storms. I think we flat out wear them down with depth, strength, and athleticism by the start of the fourth, hopefully earlier. Go Noles are going to make a statement on Saturday night.
There you go, Mark. Always positive.
That's right.
Old Mark from Naples. Yeah, I don't really disagree with any of that. That all. I mean, I'm not saying that will happen. I'm not as confident as Mark, but those are all definite possibilities. Like Duke has not seen. Can you read off the schedule of the teams they played?
I mean, it's Clemson.
It's Clemson, Notre Dame, UConn, NC State,
Lafayette, Northwestern.
Nothing. No discredit to those teams. Who has the best offense of that bunch? Clemson? Notre Dame couldn't score on Duke, but Notre Dame couldn't score on Ohio State. They scored 1 touchdown at home. I don't know that Notre Dame has a very good offense. They certainly don't have the receivers that Florida State does. And Clemson doesn't either. Florida State has faced a similar defense to this in Clemson. Probably a more talented defense, not a better defense, but Clemson has more, let's say, elite NFL talent than Duke does. Duke is just extremely well coached, and they're talented. They're not just a bunch of smart kids that are coached well. They're talented football players. But Florida State has faced a similar defense to this. They didn't play that defense great. They essentially scored 17 points in regulation, but they've seen this before. They are used to this. They will not be shocked by what they see. There is a chance that Duke, it could be a kind of welcome to reality moment for Duke because they have seen nothing like this. They got Clemson and a quarterback on their first game of the season, And they still gave up 440 yards in that game. They just were very opportunistic in the red zone. But they have not seen anything like this. So that's what you hope that they're just not ready for it. They'll be well coached and they'll be in the right spot, but they just might not have a guy that can stay in front of Keon or Jaheim or Johnny, or that can tackle Trey in the open field. Or like you said, if Jordan Travis gets on the edge, maybe that becomes, instead of a 7-yard run, a 50-yard touchdown. Like they have not seen a collection of talent like this before. And if Florida State plays well on offense, they're not going to score 50, but they'll score 30, and that should be enough to win the game.
Candy Knoll, wake up. Super excited for the game Saturday night. I'm excited for the team to get to play in what I'm betting is an electric stadium. Lots of comments about the interesting rotations Coach Norvell has used throughout the season and the large number of snaps that backups have played. Which, quote, long game do you think this most benefits? A, keeping players fresh to wear an opposing team out by the fourth quarter. B, keeping players healthy for January. Or C, getting youngsters playing time to avoid them, or rather avoid losing them to the transfer portal. Thanks and go Noles. I'll go with B. I think this is all about
What was A?
wear teams out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's a good one too, though.
Yeah, it ain't wrong. I
They're all right.
Yeah. But what does
It's
it
just-
most benefit? What does the long game most benefit? I think it's being ready, being good in December, and then being ready to go in January.
I don't disagree. I would say that, we talked about this on headlines a little bit. Jeff was lamenting that, Fabian Lovett only played 19 snaps. And I'm kind of starting to get on board with that too. Like, there's going to be a game where you're going to need your best guys out there. And it's nice that you give them, I don't know what Verse played in that game, 35 snaps. There might be a game, maybe in the Swamp, maybe in Charlotte, where you might want Jared Verse out there for 60 snaps. Can he do it? Because he hasn't really done it this year. So will his body be able to hold? Will he be just completely exhausted after snap number 42 because he's not used to playing that many snaps? Like I would like to see them start at least in a game like this, a big game. I want Fabian Lovett out there more than Stingray. I love you, Malcolm Ray, but you're not as good as Fabian Lovett, man. So I want to see Fabian Lovett play more. I want Jared Verse to be on the field much more than I want to see Gilbert Edmond, because he's a better player. And you're going to need your best players on the field at certain moments in this game, but in other games down the road. And if Jared Verse is exhausted because, hey, Jared, we only got a 3-point lead in the Swamp. There's 6 minutes left. I know you've played 58 snaps. If he can't go, and I'm not saying he'd say, no, I'm sitting out. I'm just saying his body isn't used to it. You're not getting the same Jared Verse that you need. So I'd like to see them ramp up their it's like spring training, right? Like the pitchers in spring training, they'll throw 3 innings. They'll throw 41 pitches. Then the next start, they're throwing 60. Then their final start of the spring training, they're throwing 65 pitches. And their first start of the season, they're throwing 80. It's all in an attempt by June, the middle of the season, they can throw 100 pitches, 110 pitches, and not feel taxed. Well, I want to see them start ramping it up with the defensive line a little bit.
Who we got?
I didn't answer the question, but I took a time to, mention that.
Appreciate it. She does as well, Candy, I'm sure. Geo Knoll, wake up. Hello, my favorite podcast crew. Aslan, you have to take this game very, very seriously because of their defense. This reminds me of when the ACC started to catch up with us in the mid-90s. Did they? Like mid-2010s. They caught up to us, Geo, right? Anyhow, I hope we go in and play great for 60 minutes and win. My question for the both of you is, do you all think that Hakeem and Destin could be our solid third and fourth receivers in the rotation? Thank you for all you do. Great job as always. Best podcast on the beat. Heart emoji, 100 emoji.
Amen, brother. I would say I'm really looking forward to what they do with Hakeem this week. I mentioned the Rashad Green play, his first time on the field against Charleston Southern. And
by the way,
caught
thank you
that
for correcting me. Sorry, Hakeem. I said Hakeem. Hakeem, my bad. Thank you, Corey.
Yeah, it's all right.
Carry.
But Rashad taking that pass for a touchdown against whoever it was, Charleston Southern, and then or Chattanooga, I can't remember. And then the next time he was on the field, I think was the Oklahoma game, and he makes that remarkable catch, and then he becomes your best receiver for essentially the next 4 years. I want to see how Hakeem builds off that. Will he make a play in this game? Because I think he'll be on the field some. I think he's starting. Though plays like that, you just can't. You can't understand or express what it means to do it. Even in a 34-3 game against a team that has quit, was ready to get on the plane. To do it in the stadium in front of people in a game where it counts, and now you have a highlight film, and the ACC Digital Network is tweeting out your score, you feel like, okay, you belong. You've done something. And how that builds the confidence in you and how about that builds the confidence in the team around you, that I'm really interested in Hakeem the second half of this season. Because I could see a scenario where, like, maybe he's getting more run than 88 by the end of the year. Especially if 88 can't get back into the swing of things and can't get fully healthy. Because, man, that tool bag that number 8 has is it's real. And it's, he'll have 10 or 11 games under his belt by the time they get to the swamp. Like, he could be a real weapon for this team the second half of this season. I think just a single play like that could be a spark. I don't know, but we'll see, to answer your question. I do think it's nice to know that you're going to have Hakeem and Destin next year. Those guys are the truth, man. They're going to be really big-time players for this program, I think.
Let's get to it. MyBookie.ag. It's Thursday. It's time for Corey and Aslan to resume their year-long war they're waging. Actually, we shouldn't use that word. That's a strong word. It's happening in the world right now. Their friendly competition when it comes to picking college football games. Go to MyBookie.ag. Use the promo code WARCHANT. You'll get an instant cash deposit bonus based on a percentage of the amount that you deposit when you sign up for the first time. Didn't do a lot of research on this one, Corey, so going to shoot a lot from the hip here. Okay. I don't know, do you have anyone? Do you want to go first? I'll defer if you got any in mind, or there are certain games you want me to call out, or are there ones you already know that you want to put on the record?
No, you go ahead. I'm going to look them up right now. I'm going to see if anything catches my eye.
Man, this one is – there's two reckless ones, and we're going to stick with 2, or are we doing 3? I'll give you guys a bonus one. Okay, all right. My God, I just feel like – I think North Carolina is going to be, I don't know, maybe body blow. I don't want to give mine that much credit. Virginia is getting 23.5 against North Carolina. Maybe North Carolina's flying a little too high. Cavs keep it in the low 20s, the low 20s. So I'm going to take Virginia plus 23.5 in Chapel Hill. I'm going to take the over under my children fighting in Auburn. Hugh Freeze, Lane Kiffin. Lane was supposed to go to Auburn, decided not to. Hugh Freeze was at Ole Miss at one point, no longer. I'm going to go over. I think both guys are going to bring their best offensively, and those defenses will just kind of be along for the ride. So I'm going to go Virginia on the road or at home. No, they're on the road, plus 23.5, and the over 56.5, Auburn and Ole Miss.
Okay, I just had one. Oh, you know what? I like Penn State getting the 4.5 against Ohio State. I think they're due.
Okay.
They have not won a big game since Franklin's been there. This is a very good team. I think it's the best team he's had. I don't think this Ohio State team is a typical Ohio State team. I think they're ripe. I think if not now, when? James Franklin. And I think them getting 4.5, I just think that they're going to win the game outright. So I like Penn State, but I'll take the 4.5 just to be safe. And then I had the other one. Let's see here. I like
UCF Oklahoma?
No. I'm going to go, what's Missouri, South Carolina? What do you got that line at?
What do we have it over here at MyBookie? We have it at, they don't have it on the board right now.
Oh, okay. Well, great. What is that about? Get it together, MyBookie. Come on. Let's see. How about Ole Miss Auburn?
I was 6.5.
It is 6.5. And you took Lane?
I took the over, 56.5.
I think I'm taking Auburn, just getting the points.
Okay.
Because Ole Miss's defense is horrible.
Yeah.
Auburn has a good defense. Ole Miss will score, but it won't score at will. And I just think that's a big number. I think that's going to come down to the final possession. So give me Auburn plus 6.5.
All right, there you go. Those are our picks. You make yours. MyBookie.ag, promo code WARCHANT.
Also, here's my bonus. What do you got Clemson Miami at? Is it 3?
The other. Which Miami? Yes, 3. Yes, 3.
I like Clemson giving up 3 points.
Okay.
Clemson's a favorite, but I think Clemson's going to win by more than 3 points.
Okay. And then my bonus would be take UCF plus 19 against Oklahoma. Gus will bring it. Gus will bring it. MyBookie.ag, promo code WARCHANT. Jangalang back at it, Corey. Wake up! Who remaining on our regular season schedule gives you the most concern? Florida in the swamp, says Jangalang. I think they will give us their best effort and would love nothing more than to spoil our shot at a playoff. Hope for all the bad things in life to happen to them before now and game time. And he uses the Silky Johnston gif from the Chappelle Show to provide context. I hope all the bad things in life happen to you and nobody else but you. Shout out Dave Chappelle. Yeah. Regular season, most concerned. Yeah,
I don't disagree. I think Miami, if Miami's playing, is probably the most talented team left on your schedule, but it's a big if they're going to still be playing by then. So
you make it sound like they're going to stop. They're going to shut down the
fold
program.
The program.
Done.
But if they're still playing, especially if they beat this Clemson team now, if they win on Saturday night, which I don't think they will, but if they do, well, that's going to give them some life, and they'll come into Doak feeling pretty good about themselves, and that's going to be a real challenge. Because, again, like I said, I just think they're the most talented team. They have the most weapons on offense that could beat you if Van Dyke is playing well, which is also a big if. But if he's playing well, he's like one of those three-point shooters that can get hot, and next thing you know, he's hit 9. And you're like, well, how he only hit 2 last game, and now he's hit 9. If Van Dyke starts feeling it and gets red hot, he's tough to deal with, especially with the weapons he has. So those two, the rivalry games, I think are the 2 toughest. I would say Duke. I mean, you don't know about the quarterback, man. So it's just hard to know. Their defense. Duke has the best defense left on the schedule, and it's not close. But I just don't know what their offense is. I'm not trying to dismiss them. I'm not trying to disrespect them in any way. This is a good Duke team. They're ranked higher than both Miami or Florida, clearly. But I just don't know what their offense is going to be.
Well, let's go and tack this on. Naked Nole said he watched the North Carolina State Duke game live. He thinks the result was mostly a fluke. Duke scored on big busts.
Yeah.
NC State had success running the ball. Where is their offense going to come from? I can't see them scoring more than 17 with or without Riley Leonard on one leg. 13-point line seems like stealing after the Duke defense will have to play 70 snaps by the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's a fair point, man. They don't Riley Leonard at full speed. This is a real game. Like, this is a game where you're like, I don't know what the spread would be, but they would have a real and they still do. But if Riley Leonard can't go, or if he can go and he's limited, that limits everything they have. And you're right, they had like an 83-yard run. They had another big, like a 75-yard
touchdown
pass.
Yeah.
They did not sustain anything. And Florida State lately, knock on wood, has done a good job of not busting and making teams earn their way down the field. And then against Syracuse, they would give up a few first downs in a row and then bow up. They've done a much better job of that here in the last few weeks. So, yes, it's hard to imagine unless you just give them the ball at your 10-yard line, or they bust a kick return, or they block a punt, or Jordan just throws it right to a linebacker's chest over and over again. It's hard to imagine how they're going to put up enough points to beat you, but those things happen in football games. That's what Clemson did. Like, go watch the Clemson-Duke game. I think Clemson outgained. Clemson didn't punt in the second half. And they also didn't score. Yeah. They just drove up and down the field and turned it over. So that can happen. Duke scored 28 points, but the defense, the offense had like one sustained drive. So that's how you get beat in this game. If the offense shoots itself in the foot and turns it over and doesn't take care of the football, even if the Duke offense doesn't do much, it can do enough to take advantage of getting the ball at your 17-yard line.
Yeah. I don't want to use LSU as the example because that might be a little too drastic. But if you had a Frankenstein team of Ole Miss's offense and Duke's defense, what do you think the line would be this week?
That's
like -3 or a pick 'em?
Yeah, pick 'em.
Okay.
That would be one of the best teams in the country.
No. That's what's going to beat Florida State. But I don't know if that team exists.
Again, I will say this. I'm giving Duke a ton of credit. They are very well coached. They have played some bad offenses. I don't know where those offenses rank in the country. I can promise you they're not in the top 7 in scoring, any of them. So I do think Duke has a very good defense. I don't know if it's elite. Saturday night at 11:15, I'll be able to tell you if it's elite or not, depending on what they do to Florida State.
I think. Yeah, I mean, let's just carry on. We got to get through the show here. Samari Knoll, gentlemen, can an argument be made that Renardo Green is quietly the best player on the team this year?
No, but I think you could make an argument he is the best player on the defense. Okay. Him and Verse are tied 1 and 1A maybe. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Renardo, and I don't think he gets enough credit. Because he even the completions he's given up, and there have been a few, not many, he's always right there. Ripping at the ball, jumping at the ball, like he's always right there. He's been very, very good.
Second question, what is the one thing that keeps this offense stuck in third gear? Corey talks about results of the final score, but this offense is still struggling with consistency to do any one thing good. Thanks, guys. I mean, if Jordan would run more, sorry.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
But, I mean, then it's like, okay, what are you going to do next year? Like, is this if that's the only way we can feel great about this offense is to have a Jordan Travis running the ball at quarterback, then, I mean, I don't know that you're not going to have another one of those guys. You know, nobody on the roster now is Jordan Travis athletically, and the guys you got coming in aren't Jordan Travis athletically, because who is? I think it does if Jordan Travis runs, and it's not something I want to harp on for 8 more weeks, it gives you a lot more freedom on third, like to know that on 3rd and 4, you've got 7 yards in the bag because he can run around people. Instead of having to, like, you make a tight throw in a window, or you have to get pass protection. A QB draw here or there would be really nice. They don't call those at all. But I think, honestly, to me it goes to the overall running game. How much you want to include that in Jordan Travis being a part of that, because he is clearly. The running game being established and becoming a dominant force again, like it was at the end of last year, that's what has to happen. The passing game is much better than it was last year. It's putting up better yardage. It's also got, obviously better players to throw to. The running game is what's been a step below what it was last year. So get that picked up. That probably means Jordan has to keep it once or twice a game or quarter, whatever. But you needed the running game to be picked up a little bit. And then I think that opens up everything.
All right, 2 more.
All right, let's do it. I had an AMA already on Wednesday, Aslan. I'm
sick of
just
taking
about
questions
tapped
from
out.
people. Sick of taking
if my
questions from
son
people.
asks me a question, I'm going to lose it. These have been a lot.
Wake up. No week like Duke week.
Amen.
Who is the best Duke football player ever? If there are any. That's rude.
Huh.
Daniel Jones.
Is he giving us options, or are
no?
You coming up?
No, the answer is Sonny Jorgensen.
I mean, I guess, man. He was a quarterback in the 60s and 70s. Could he really read a defense? You know what's crazy about the days back then is the quarterbacks called their own plays. They were like major league catchers. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy that like Joe Namath was calling the plays?
Well, why else would you huddle? It makes sense to me. Give me some time to think about it. All right, this is what we're going to do, guys.
Yeah, it's nuts that like I don't know who the first offensive coordinator was that wasn't a quarterback, but I want to see a 30 for 30 on that. Like they go to the head coach and like, look, we're not going to let Joey call plays anymore. He's like, wait, what? We're not. What is this? What is this circus? My quarterback doesn't call plays. I'm going to have somebody on a headset signaling in with a Bob Barker picture and a dog. In Olympic rings. That's how we're going to signal in our plays now instead of letting him just call it in the huddle. Football was a lot different when Sonny Jurgensen played, I guess is my point. But is there anybody? There's got to be, man. They've got to had. I'm going to look it up because I do not want to disrespect Duke football, especially in Duke Hate Week. So I'm going to look it up. I guess Daniel Jones?
Yeah, man. First round pick.
But he wasn't that good.
Well, I'm just trying to answer the question. Anywho, move along. Last one. Seminole Mike 1, two-parter. I don't know if he's the same guy. Somebody really wants us to interview Miss Carroll, the administrative assistant for all the coaches. He asked, has she been the administrative assistant for all the coaches that have been here? I don't know. I don't know if she could give us the good dirt. Like, I don't know. That's probably what makes her great. Is her confidences are always kept. So maybe one of these days. But I never remember seeing her around when Willie was here. But I know she was here when Willie was here. But she was never around. She wasn't as visible, it seems, as she is now. It's Carol season, some might say. Wake up, Nole Nation. Can't wait to see the atmosphere on Saturday night. Doak is going to be on fire. Maybe we'll get that LED spear plant after all. That'd be great. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but assuming we play well this week, I have to think we are on a collision course with North Carolina. Mike Norvell has had Mac Brown's number over the past couple seasons. Is there something to Mac's coaching tendencies that is favorable to our coaching staff and style?
I don't know. Both of those games, honestly, were inexplicable. 2021 is just nuts.
Even more so, maybe, because second half you were hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, you just jumped all over them.
Yeah,
but in 2020,
yeah,
in 2021, it was like Florida State got up by 3 scores, and then Mac just waved a white flag as if he was facing the '98 Florida State team. It's like, buddy, you can score a lot of points against this defense if you try. But they had like a 9-minute drive to cut it to 10 with 2 minutes. It was just bizarre. I don't know, but he has never had a really good time coaching against Florida State.
Maybe he does indeed fear the spear. Maybe he just sees it, and there's some sort of psychological voodoo. Like, he's been here. He knows what it's about. He still believes in the mystique, you know?
Yeah, it could be. Could be. I've looked it up.
I told you.
I think Mike Curtis is my answer. He was I think he was a Super Bowl winner for the Colts. He played 11 seasons for the Colts and 2 seasons for the Redskins. Sorry. Well, that's what it says here.
Right,
the Commanders now. Yeah. And he was a 4-time Pro Bowl selection as a linebacker. He was also a 65 draft pick. Sonny Jurgensen was a 57 draft pick who got elected to the Hall of Fame in 1983. So, I don't know, man. That seems like more of like, let's get this guy in there. He didn't really earn it. But, yeah, I guess Sonny Jurgensen's their only Hall of Fame member, so I guess you got to go with that. But when you look at their top 10, man, of just this thing I found on NFLnetwork.com, they're all people that were drafted pre-1980.
Well, that list is from 2005 too. It's got Brian Baldinger on it too, right?
Okay, all right, okay, my bad, I didn't know that. Maybe Mike Curtis is in the Hall of Fame by now.
It's got Brian Baldinger on it, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Wonder how many clicks the best Duke football players ever got on NFL.com. I think I might have been the 7th.
Oh man. Yeah, we are on a collision course though with North Carolina and Mac Brown, seemingly. Even though I had Virginia, maybe I also want to go back and take that Virginia pick. I thought it was going to be in Charlottesville. Maybe this plays more into it. Who knows? What I do know is that we'll have a show live later tonight, 6 o'clock on YouTube. Corey and myself. That'll be your Friday podcast. So you can listen to it in the car line, running, errands, maybe on the drive up to Tallahassee, maybe on the drive up to Corner Pocket to hang out with Corey Clark and Jeff Cameron on Friday in Tallahassee. So stay connected. Check that out. Warchant Report powered by Cummins also likely to drop on Thursday. I think Coach Speak is – I don't know why we put 2 big tentpole franchises on the same day, but we just like to shove it down your gullet on a Thursday, kids. So take it.
What a way to phrase that.
Take it.
Yeah, amen.
We'll talk to you. Full matchup analysis forthcoming as well over on warchant.com. Jeff Cameron Show 1 to 3 o'clock. He's Corey Maslon. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.